Welcome to the MPSA Leadership Insights interview today. My name is Sarah Henderson. I'm a member of the Education Committee with the MPSA, and I'm really excited today to interview Randy Dazo with Keypoint Intelligence. As we get started today, just a quick reminder, this is a live event, so feel free to like, share, comment, let Randy and I know if you have any questions. If you're not already following the MPSA on LinkedIn, we ask that you join us. This will also be shared via our YouTube channel, and we have a brand new ebook series. So go out and check it out. You can download a free ebook on Windows predictive print, a framework for proposals, for RFPs, and just lots of great topics, on supplies. So just helping you be educated, share that with your customers. We already got great feedback from one of our dealer members about how that RFP framework is going to help them as they work with their customers. So brand new, download the ebooks on these topics today. Just go out to the website. What is the MPSA? If you're not familiar and this is your first time joining us, thank you so much for tuning in. We are a nonprofit organization. We are a group of volunteers from throughout the industry, from consultants to manufacturers, software providers, dealers, providers across the industry that come together to implement best practice, knowledge share, and really build up our industry around managed services and managed print. There are a lot of benefits to being a member of the MPSA. Our Leadership Circle is a new initiative this year, looking to recognize leaders in our space. We also encourage people to serve on our committees. And another big offering that really benefits a lot of our providers is we are the organization that offers a trust mark or certification of a provider's managed print program that you can then share with your clients that you are certified in key areas of managed print. You can go out to yourmpsa.org, manage print certified to learn more. If you'd like some information about membership, it's very affordable. It's a great group to be involved with. If you've not yet joined the MPSA, we encourage you to check out that membership information. And finally, this is our third series in Leadership Insights. And I try not to mention how long I've known somebody, but in our last interview, I think Ed McLaughlin throughout a year. But Randy, I'm just going to say that I've had the pleasure to collaborate with you, interact with you, learn from you throughout my tenure in the Imaging Channel. And it's truly an honor to interview you today and just really connect on some of these exciting topics that we have going on. So let's start. I introduced you a little bit, but let's talk about you. What is your role within your organization? And can you educate those who are not familiar with your organization about what Keypoint Intelligence does?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe I'll start there with who Keypoint Intelligence is. And we're actually a combination of several companies that have come together over the past, I would say, probably 10 years now. Originally, it was BLI or Buyers Lab. They acquired InfoTrends back in 2015, and that's when actually I joined the bigger company, which is now Keypoint Intelligence. For those who didn't know what we did individually and now what Keypoint Intelligence does as a whole, the InfoTrends side of the business typically was our strategic consulting advisory services, typically helping out the manufacturers, understanding things like forecasts and, trends in the industry, as well as placements and things like that. as well as we do a lot of market research to understand like what are the future trends that are potentially going to happen. And that also informs us about what the forecast could look like in the next 5 years. So that was info trends. And then the other side was the BLI side, which is actually more of our testing, our platform, BLIQ, which a lot of dealers are familiar with, I'm sure. Since then, we've acquired a couple of other companies called ProPrint Performance is one of them, which is a production print, kind of a version of BLIQ. But in addition to that platform, we can learn about the specs of all the production printers. We also have training services as well, both on the consultative training side and also on competitive training on production printers. We just made a recent acquisition early this year with a company based out of France called DMO or Data Masters. And essentially, it's a very similar product to BLIQ, where they have all the platform services where you can learn about products and testing of products and things like that. Even though it's an overlap pretty much very similar to BLIQ, we're looking to expand more in the European market. So having those dealers, and there are quite a few of them in France in particular, that was one of the major reasons why we acquired them. So that's Keypoint Intelligence today. My role here is the Chief Strategy and Product Officer. I've actually been here now almost 20 years. Started out on the InfoTrend side and kind of worked my way through. Actually, my first position at InfoTrends was for solution software. And that was back in 2007. And in 2008, we ran our first multi-client study on managed print services when it started getting popular. And then I started our managed print services advisory service back in, I think, 2010. So that's kind of the progression. And since then, I kind of worked my way, into the organization and became more of the strategy and product officer, overseeing both our office and production, both on the InfoTrend side, as well as on the BLI and PPP production side and stuff like that too.
Sorry, you stay pretty busy.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So you're staying pretty busy over there, Randy.
We're staying pretty busy, and we're always kind of inventing ourselves. And that's one thing that's always been a pleasure working here, is that obviously we're a bunch of analysts that think that we know what's going on in the world, and we try to make predictions on the next new trend. And we're pretty accurate in following through on that and come up with new services. Obviously, these are things that we also hear out in the industry too, from our clients, as well as from end customers and dealers and things like that. So if there's more than one customer that wants to talk about something in particular, like management services, that now becomes a trend. And then we actually follow up with that and say, hey, what? Let's do some research and maybe come up with a product around that. So yeah.
Well, that lends itself well into our next question is, how does your organization, it's very far-reaching, a lot of different facets within Keypoint Intelligence, but how does your organization generally operate within the managed print landscape? And what has been your relationship or involvement with the MPSA locally or globally within our community?
Great question. So maybe I kind of answered that already with being very early in the MPS, I guess the trend that actually started probably around, it depends on who you talk to. I think that Toshiba claims to have been the first MPS vendor out there back in 2005, saying that they offered services like this. Then you have HP, that's of course the A4 vendor that also, a lot of MPS is around managing A4 products. So we were pretty early on. Again, I was hearing a lot about it while talking about solutions. And back then we were talking more about the different platforms that actually use these solutions. And as these devices got smarter, we were able to manage them better. And obviously that kind of led to, hey, you know what? Well, there's probably a bigger thing that happened was, the battle between A3 and A4. And we saw that early on happening even way before that. And everyone wanting to get more market share and managing each other's devices potentially. So again, that's kind of how it started without the term managed print. And then we, did our big research study, which was a multi-client study, got a lot of great feedback. A lot of people were interested in it. And then we created the service around it. So we've been pretty active for almost 20 years now, talking about managed print. And then, so that's kind of our involvement now with the MPSA. We've been members for quite some time now, not since the beginning, but we joined, probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And today we, participate as a member, as well as one of our employees, Deborah Hawkins, is one of the board members too.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to interact with Deborah as well and have her insight, especially from that international side of the other side of the pond, if you will.
Indeed, yeah.
And so, from your perspective, what's the most significant way? And I think you've already touched on some of these, but maybe let's take a deep dive where you want to go. What's the significant way your organization is making a positive impact in the broader MPSA community? Obviously, you having employees serve, but you guys have also helped share information. So, what would be some examples or something you'd like to share about where Keypoint Intelligence has really had a contribution to the MPSA community?
Well, what's nice about the MPSA, it is very inclusive in terms of, the type of members that you have. It's manufacturers, it's dealers, and it's also market research organizations like Keypoint Intelligence. Obviously, as being a member, we also want to be part of, an association that actually follows a very specific trend that's, very popular out there. And it's evolved, obviously, too. It's not just around print anymore. It's around managed services and other things that we're including as part of the broader definition of managed print services or managed services. So, we always try to help out with any, new recent research, obviously, and, sharing some of that detail, with the organization. But now, since Deborah's been really part of the board of directors, we also are part of the production print area for the MPSA. And I think that, some of our analysts that focus on that area have also spoken to the group and talked a little bit about production, because that is kind of a new area, especially for dealers that are getting into production print. And, since these products are so expensive and, for a dealer to kind of pass those expenses on to an end customer, doing it as a service versus some of the other ways that you could actually do it is definitely, I mean, it's almost how they actually provide those services anyway. They are providing production print as a service, at least the manufacturers, and then the dealers also following that model as well. I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm working remote hybrid today, and the FedEx guy came to the door, and I did not think that you would want your interview interrupted by my very excited canine companion, Sydney, today. I didn't think she'd want to join in on the interview. So thank you for your patience there, Randy. Can you describe a time in your organization? And I think you've talked a little bit about it, just the blending of the companies that make up Keypoint Intelligence, but also a time in your organization when you've had to personally or professionally adapt it to a major industry shift. And what did you learn that was most valuable from that you would like to share today with our audience?
Well, as I said, we can be pretty entrepreneurial here at Keypoint Intelligence, and obviously we have to follow, the trends that are happening in the marketplace. And not only do we look at our own industry, but we look at other industries too to see how, from an IT perspective, how is that actually being affected? Sometimes, within our industry, we might be followers, from the bigger IT area. And, so we have to take a look at everything that's going on and see what could actually impact or influence the print space. What's interesting, I think, is though that managed print services did come before managed services. And now that we have managed services, that seems to be evolving because it is, part of the bigger IT space. And there's a lot of things that are happening and evolving in that space as well. I would say, and I'm really proud to have, been a part of the organization now for 20 years and been able to start up areas in the company that were just trends at the time, and then, come up with either a practice area that's, very specific to, say, managed print services, which we started back in 2010 around. But we've done that with several other areas too. And, with, say, managed services and incorporating that into our view of the managed services space. I would say that one of the bigger trends that really is huge and impacting all industries, not even just the IT industry, obviously is AI. You know, between what the internet had done back in the early 2000s to now this bigger grand shift that's actually happening, AI is hugely impactful. And I would say that we were pretty early in not only talking about AI, but even showing some of the references leading up to automation and seeing what happened with, you know, smart intelligence, you know, like looking at the typical Alexas and the Google devices. I mean, those are very early signs of, you know, intelligence that you could actually ask questions through regular, you know, language, and be able to, you know, get responses and answers out of that. And, you know, AI today with generative AI, that really exploded the whole space. We got in really early, you know, started evaluating it. I was talking about it to people that had no idea about ChatGPT before they were before they influenced the entire industry by having 1 million subscribers within a month. I was part of that million, and really, you know, coming up with our own products and services around AI, and you know, that's how we teamed up with West McDonald, and now with other types of AI solutions that we're offering customers and stuff like that. So again, you know, I guess that's kind of our job as being an analyst. We have to be informed and always have to be looking out for the next big thing, so we can actually help people within our industry also, you know, learn about those things and adapt to it and see how they can actually help their customers in providing services around things. So AI is, I would say, the biggest, newest thing, obviously, that I think that we should be offering as a service to our customers, and which we do with our assessment services and other solutions that we're talking about.
I think there's a certain amount of to I don't know how to describe it. I think there's a certain amount of like trepidation or a little bit of conservatism in our channel, you know, kind of testing the waters, if you will. What is the juice worth the squeeze, if you will? So all of these AI solutions that are out there. So I know I'm a little you know, kind of taking us down a different area, but you know, how is Keypoint Intelligence helping the channel and educating? Because I think that's something that you know, we've seen a lot of interest, but how does somebody learn more to embrace it in their business and understand, you know, if they had to pick a couple of areas of emphasis, does Keypoint help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. And I would say that there's a pretty broad mix of dealerships that are still kicking the tires, still learning, you know, about artificial intelligence. But you'd be surprised that there are some dealers that are actually out there, maybe not sanctioned as a dealer strategy, but a few people within their organization really know ChatGPT well. They're utilizing the capabilities, you know, creating better emails, writing, you know, reports, documents, blogs, you know, content and things like that. But yeah, from an overall strategy, in you know, really having all the right elements and really incorporating it to take, you know, advantage of the capabilities, we have a pretty nice extensive set of tools that you know, we've come up with. And one of the reasons why, you know, obviously we're talking about today is, you know, to talk a little bit about some of the things that not only are we offering to dealers from, you know, a managed services standpoint, but eventually we're going to be offering this product to dealers to sell to their customers. And it's another service, you know, like, you know, within managed services or managed print services that people will probably start buying as a service. And what we're calling it is more outcomes as a service versus, say, well, the product does a lot. It is an AI product that we're talking about here.
Maybe we
That
could show, yeah, I think you had sent me a slide ahead of time to help me prepare for our
Yeah.
interview today. And that really lends itself into what is an innovation that you guys are working on. And so maybe we can talk about that now. Would you like to talk to this, Randy?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, as I mentioned before, you know, the broader AI tool sets that we have could actually be incorporated into all aspects of an organization, from the sales, marketing, operations. But we saw a need out there, especially on the marketing side, not only for the dealers, but for their customers too, that are typically small, medium-sized customers that don't necessarily have their own marketing department. And as we know with dealers, some of the dealers, yeah, they might not have a marketing department. They're not great at marketing. So we're actually offering it to the dealers first to kind of have them eat their own dog food and see how this actually works and experience it as a service. And what I mean by that, when we talk about it as a service, it is more of a subscription where we will understand at the very beginning through kind of an assessment, understanding what the objectives, some of the challenges, things that dealers want. And the biggest thing that we always hear from dealers is that they want more leads. They want not only the top of the funnel leads that you typically can buy from Zoom Info, and we offer those services too. We actually are a broker of leads, and it's all part of our platform. But we can actually take those raw leads, and these are leads that are double opt-in, ready to buy intent leads. These are customers that have actually gone to websites or actually gone into Google and have searched on, what are the latest copiers? Tell me about printers. They're intent lead buyers that have actually, were interested in our industry. So where we go from there is that, hey, we can offer that if you need that. Or if you really want to nurture those leads and really have hotter, more qualified, we can do a whole range of marketing. And these are just a few of the things that we can actually provide to them, from marketing campaign ideation and management. The whole funnel system is actually managed through an AI agent that actually does all that. We have a whole bunch of agents that actually help us to actually create marketing campaigns. So if, I was playing with it the other day and just seeing like, okay, what if the MPSA wanted to do an event and they were trying to get a whole bunch of, dealers and end customers to it, and and to create a campaign around that. All I have to do in this agent is say, hey, I want to try and build a campaign. We're going to have an event. Tell me what I need to actually do from a marketing perspective. And it gives me an entire, marketing campaign program that could incorporate things like emails, videos, podcasts. Their website obviously also has to be optimized as well. And we do all of those services, essentially doing it for the dealership. So one of the things that we don't do as part of this is give the tools to the dealers to use and have them do this themselves. And the reason why we don't do that is because a lot of the dealers, they don't have the resources and the time to actually do that. And typically when we provided tools like that to dealers, they end up not using them. They're too busy doing the day-to-day jobs and stuff like that. So instead of actually giving them the tools to do it, we actually can do it for them as a service and provide that and provide the outcomes to them, which at the end of the day, what they really want are better qualified, better sales leads, things like that. Again, some of the other tools that we have in there. One thing that's really important from an AI perspective, there's a new term out there called AEO, and you're probably familiar with SEO. And SEO obviously is the old way that Google, helped to serve up companies based on Google searches. And today, a lot of people are actually using LLMs to do their searches. Even in Google, in a lot of cases, you end up using Gemini, and Gemini ends up giving you the answers to whatever you type into the Google, thing. I use ChatGPT constantly to do my research and stuff like that. And in order to do that, there's a whole new architecture that you need for your website to be recognized and noticed as being AEO or answer engine optimized. And we do an assessment. As a matter of fact, I actually created an assessment for the MPSA website just to show how AEO ready is the MPSA website, for instance. And I have that whole report, and I'll send it to Eric and the team if they want to see that.
I'm sure the marketing communications committee would love to see that report.
You guys did really well, though, compared to
yeah.
another company that I did it for. And I'm not going to mention the other company, but they got one of the lowest scores I've ever seen on being ready for being AEO optimized. But in any case, so I'll send you.
This is very important, right? So
absolutely.
I think, and I'm not being critical, I love our channel, but I think sometimes we do lag a little bit in some of these areas of adopting new technology for sales and marketing. we do a great job cold calling. We do a great job in-person blitzing now that we're through COVID. But
Yeah.
all of this
Yeah.
technology is so important in reaching these buyers.
Yeah.
So this is a new offering that you're talking about today. So it's exciting to hear about this innovation that you're offering at Keypoint. Is this something that you have some dealers using today, or were dealers involved in developing this as you put this new process, a new offering as a service together?
Yeah. So we are actually launching this product officially tomorrow, which this will actually air tomorrow. So on the 19th, the press release will go out. We're actually sending emails to the BTA because we're going there, obviously, too. So all their participants that are going there will actually get an email to actually come to our booth and see this new product, basically. So we actually delayed our launch, and we had actually started talking about this product, and it was co-developed between our IT department and a partner, basically. And since October, we actually had a couple of, I would call case study dealers that are actually going through it. Now, it does take a long time to see the results of this, because not only are we rebuilding their website, we're actually getting them leads. We're nurturing leads through campaigns that, could take 3 months to actually go through a whole campaign, basically, until you get to a sale, to get that hot lead to a sales discussion and then actually convert that into a sale. It does take a long time. So we're not quite there with all the case studies yet, but we have 3 really good dealers, all different sizes. And as soon as I can mention their names, we will let you guys know. And they are going to be our referrals for this service, basically. But a lot of them are getting the leads today. They're getting both unqualified raw leads, because some want to do their own marketing if they want to. But for those that don't want to do their marketing, we actually go through an entire campaign development and management process. And depending on the types of triggers that their audiences are react to, we in our campaign agent that actually comes up with these things, it knows based on what we call ideal customer profiles. And we do a whole onboarding as part of the service. We understand exactly what their customer profiles are from a dealer or from an end customer perspective. Say, an end customer is looking at a certain vertical market, and we set up an entire profile of, say, the healthcare market, and we know the triggers of how they actually do their procurement. Where do they go to actually learn through the whole customer journey, from learning about technology to proof building, to talking to other people, to the actual, okay, I'm ready to buy. We have different suggestions for each phase of that journey to show where does the customer actually learn about products, who do they actually talk to when they actually want to get feedback, things like that. And we can affect those places by where we place the marketing, basically, for every step of the journey. So it's pretty inclusive, where a lot of tools that are out there can give you a piece of it where, hey, you know what, I can create content for you for your website. Well, we can do that. Obviously, we not only provide blogs and podcasts and videos and things like that, and these are all AI tools and generated on the behalf of the dealership, but we manage the entire thing where they don't have to worry about it. They do have to accept and give us permission to send emails out on their behalf, because we're doing it as the dealership, or putting up videos on their website, or even on social media and stuff like that. They have to sign off on it, click on it through their through their portal, but then everything else, they get the results, basically, and that's how it's being served to the customers, and that's how it it really should be, more as a service. We're calling it results or outcomes as a service. And that's really the new trend that I would say, especially from a marketing and sales standpoint. It's not just giving people tools anymore. It is actually providing the full service. Yeah, I mean, dealers are probably going to need a marketing expert in order to do that. But I tell you, the tools are their marketing experts. We have like hundreds of different agents that actually can help out from the marketing side down to the sales side. And even the sales agent tools, like we have tools that we showed at the RICO event back in October that we started talking about and selling. It's actually now part of this bigger platform, but we have tools that generate playbooks for customers. We have tools that actually, for a salesperson, create a full journey email sequence experience that they can actually put into a sequence builder. We have a sequence builder in our tool that actually can send out those emails with delays in between. That sequence builder can also incorporate what we have as inbound and outbound calling agents. And these are all AI agents that call up customers, can actually do the initial cold calling to see whether or not they're interested. The entire conversation is recorded. The responses are AI.
You said something that so you have an AI agent that is verbally interacting with a prospective customer.
Yep.
Um, I'm curious. I'm going to have to track this, and maybe we'll need to do a follow-up interview later this year. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
When we think about using AI within this new service that you're offering to the dealer community. But if you had to pick one or two takeaways from today that you would like to leave the audience with, what they should know about, hey, this is how where you are and where Keypoint is, and what you'd want people to remember from today's interview, what would be the biggest thing that you'd want to share with the MPSA community, Randy?
Well, a couple of things that actually kind of clicked in our conversation today, that our industry typically lags behind when it comes to adopting technologies and stuff like that. And AI is so new, and we are the people on the cutting, bleeding edge of this technology that's actually put together a solution, incorporated a bigger platform that really, takes in consideration the entire workflow, the entire journey of a customer and things like that. And what's nice for the dealers is that they don't have to know anything about technology in order to adopt something like this. We're going to provide them the outcomes. Now, we're providing this as a service, as a managed service to a customer, which I think that it does translate into services that dealers should, as part of their managed services offering, offer to their customers, which our platform is fully capable of doing that eventually. We just got to get our dealers to actually, learn about AI, and that'll come over time, especially those that actually do, adopt, our platform, or not even adopt it, engage with us with this. And by the way, the name of the product is Keypoint Engage. So we're engaging with our, products, engaging customers, engaging with marketing, engaging with prospects, clients, things like that. That's really what, I'd love to see as progression from this. Not only people adopting this, but people that actually do embrace AI and can actually offer these as a service. We can give you the tools to actually provide this, to your customers in a complete service also. And with West's, assessment services too, that is part of it, where we can assess the bigger, end customer or the dealerships. And that's what we're doing today too. And give them the recommendations now to how they actually can improve, even more specifically around sales marketing. We saw a need on the dealership side. We also see a need on the end customer side. So if there are some dealers that are out there that are interested, reach out to Keypoint Intelligence.
It's really exciting to hear about new offerings, right? I think when we think about when somebody meets you on the street and they say, "What do you do?" Right? My daughter always says, "Mom, don't talk about printers and copiers." But this series, this Leadership Insight series, and being able to spend time with you today reminds me that we're constantly growing, evolving, embracing new technologies, and reinventing ourselves, not only as individuals, but as an industry. And it's really exciting to see learn more about not only what Keypoint does within the MPSA, but to learn more about some of the new things that you're helping develop and roll out to the dealer community globally, as we look at your team across the globe at Keypoint. So I'd like to thank you again today, Randy, for spending this time together, and just offer back to you. Did you have anything you wanted to add before we wrap on this month's interview?
The one thing that I would just say is that our dealer community has been so resilient over the years. We've gone through a lot of change over time, going from analog to digital to solutions to services. We have to stay relevant in front of our customers. So, stay on top of the trends and, continue to remain relevant, and you'll be in the industry, for a very long time.
Thank you again, Randy. It was such a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you out there soon.
Yep. See you soon. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, MPSA, too.